join us in studio. First of all, you've heard the Vice President moments ago talk about reasons why government is making that U-turn. It's a U-turn because the NPP government, when you were running the program, did not believe that was the solution to our economic woes. Now the Vice President says there are two major issues from the external point, which is COVID-19 and the Russian-Ukraine war, a reason for which we have to turn to the IMF. Then he adds another electorate blaming the NDC administration, erstwhile John Mahama administration, for the mismanagement of the banking sector, and then points to the payment of excess capacity. Do you agree with the Vice President when he says, well, it's partly your fault as well?
Well, thank you very much, my brother, and good evening to listeners. So unfortunately, we have come to a point where unless I don't have anything doing, in which case I want to engage in some entertainment, that's the only time I listen to Dr. Baumia. You see, so this afternoon I didn't listen to him at all because unfortunately he has become stale and he doesn't seem to recognize that he has become stale. It may be out of disrespect for Ghanaians that he still insists on saying what he has been saying. But let me ask you, and through you to him, a few questions.
But I don't speak for the Vice President, you agree?
So he spoke about payment of excess capacity, banking cleanup, and all that, being responsible for the huge debt overhang. I just want to ask a simple question. Since when did he become aware of these figures? Was it after 2020 or before the 2018, where he was touting himself of having, built a better economy? I believe that John Mahama didn't come back in 2020 or 2019 to do anything. You understand? So if after 6 years in office, you are still blaming predecessors, it means that you have no clue as to why you went into the elections to become a leader in the first place.
Were you expecting an apology from the Vice President to start off with?
Well, the president doesn't want to even admit where he's wrong. So you can't even proceed to be talking about apologies. You just leave him like a donkey who is crying that grass is blue. You don't argue with him. Just leave him. If everybody knows that grass is green, and you meet a donkey who is arguing vehemently that grass is blue, if you like, let us go to the Lion King to determine whether grass is blue or not blue. You don't argue with that person because every Ghanaian knows that, he has lost credibility. And if we were in a well-functioning democracy, people like that should be leaving their offices.
You feel the Vice President should be resigning by now?
Because the things he has said, politics or democracy is about trust in our leadership. So if you are running a system where you cannot even trust your leaders, they say this today, tomorrow they say a different thing, then how are we expected to trust in the solutions that they are prescribing?
The feeling of some is
because you need to accept the diagnosis, the causes of a disease before you take the medication. But if the person is talking about causes which are not actually the causes, it means that he will be prescribing a wrong medication for you. So that is why we have been saying that, look, the very set of economic managers who brought us into this mess cannot be relied upon to take us out of the mess. So before any IMF program or whatever can be swallowed by Ghanaians with all its hardship, Ghanaians must know that we have a new set of people whose word they can trust.
And you go to the extent of asking the Vice President to resign. Some say this is usual of any other politician. You promise, and you fail. So this is just one of such
when
cases.
you say something is black and it turns out to be white too many times, you have lost credibility, and you help yourself by resigning from the economic management team. You shouldn't be there at all. You understand? So because we are in a certain mess, and we have been told that we are bringing the IMF to help us to implement certain austerity measures that will take us out of the mess. This austerity will involve hardship and others. So you need leaders who will be able to convince the population that, look, these are the right set of measures that will take us out of where we are. And those leaders must be trustworthy. The people must have trust in them. So if you are dealing with leaders in whom the people have lost trust, the people will not accept it. And that is why you are seeing the turbulence you are seeing in the economy now, the labor front and the other thing, because the simple fact is that they can no longer trust in the word of government.
It's surprising that you're fixated on vice president, particularly when we've
had managers
of the economy. But we've had, for instance, from former
vice president.
Yes,
there's a vice president. There's this.
I was just coming to that because we've heard from, for instance, former President John Dramani Mahama. He says President Akufo-Addo must consider a reshuffle, for instance, as part of the solution to the problem. Yes. So beyond the resignation, do you have a sense of some of the ministries that perhaps we need to do away with and some of the ministers that we need to change immediately?
You see, I've spoken broadly about the managers of the economy. There are a set of ministers who are on the economic management team, which has delivered this disastrous consequence. So they should not be there. You see, because if you are going to give the same set, and these are people who keep on defending their decisions when they know that their decisions are responsible for bringing us this far. See, leadership is about choices, it's about judgment, and so on. And you are not going to have a situation where there is nothing on the international front, as if there will be a period where the international situation will remain stagnant, nothing changes. You are not going to have it. So if you opt to go to lead a country that is operating within an international situation, you should take those conditions as given, the possibility that there will be disruption here, left and right, and design your policy to provide buffers that will take care of such unforeseen situations.